On the 24th of March 2020, Albert Uderzo, one half of the team who created Asterix and Obelix, sadly passed away. This episode is in dedication to him and the joy he's left behind. I have a large collection of arcade games. I wonder how much money it would cost me to complete all of them if it was a real arcade. Only one way to find out. Those of you who've been following the arcade series will know that at the end of every episode, I tend to give a clue of what the next game is. Join me next time where I'll be playing as a monster hunter with constant motion sickness. Well, this time I won't be following that clue for reasons stated at the start of the video. This video is to celebrate the work of Albert Uderzo by looking at the game based on his work. Asterix, better known as Asterix and Obelix. A French creation by Albert Uderzo and René Goscinny, I think. Asterix and Obelix were a Gaulish duo who used a magic potion to make themselves superpowered and fight against the armies of Caesar and many other historical figures in its 61-year run, and counting. They entertain many fans, both young and old, with their slapstick violence and childlike illustration. Since then, they've been in books, films, games, snacks, merchandise, have a theme park, and Asterix had France's first satellite named after him. They've reached fans all over the world. One of those places was Japan, the home of Konami, who took it upon themselves to create the Asterix and Obelix arcade game. Fun fact, Asterix and Obelix actually haven't been to Japan yet. The 1992 game is a 2D side-scrolling beat-em-up which can be played alone or with a friend as you fight against the Roman Empire. It follows the themes and tones of the books closely and is a faithful recreation. Once you start the game, one player chooses between either Asterix or Obelix, Asterix being the faster of the two while Obelix is stronger and starts with a rock to throw. Then the game starts in your village. There is no plot, so I'm going to make my own. Cacophonix is pissing off the village as usual by being a terrible singer and just terrible bard person in general. So Asterix and Obelix decide to go for a walk when Southern Romans. Then violence happens. The controls are simple and responsive. You can move in 8 directions, run by double tapping a direction, an attack button which can be held down to charge a more powerful attack. The same button also picks up items. Walking into enemies lets you grab them and either throw them or attack them some more. And you also have a jump button which you can combine with the attack button to jump attack. Combat, however, goes beyond these simple moves. Once you've knocked an enemy down to the ground, you can then walk up to them and press the attack button to dish out more punishment, to satisfy the inner sadist inside of you. You've got a life bar, which goes down surprisingly quick, a score counter, and 2 extra lives for every credit you use. The first level has you beating up a lot of Roman soldiers with the occasional captain, until you reach the end, where there is, you guessed it, a boss. In this case, a Roman turtle. It's not a boss you can just bash though. You can only attack it when the captain pokes his head out, but not a difficult boss overall. Once you defeat a boss, Asterix and Obelix celebrate and embrace? Okay. Then you get a brief summary of the plot of the level, available in French and English. You also get your first attempt at a bonus game, where you have to race to the end of a track while jumping over obstacles. You hammer the attack button to speed up while using the jump button to avoid the obstacles. Trickier than it looks though, as at first you're not sure what is and isn't a hazard, and the jump animation takes a while to get going. Spoiler alert, we never actually finished this bonus stage. From now on, the levels are based on books from the series and you are given a briefing of what to do in the level, but really it's just a fancy way of saying beat the shit out of anyone who isn't you or your partner. Or do whatever this is to them. This level is irritating as shit. These tornadoes keep grabbing you and leaving you open for attack, but they don't affect the enemy, and that is some bullshit. Time to take advantage of those pickups. Throughout your rampage you will find 3 kinds of pickup. Food to restore your health, treasure like enemy helmets to get points. But the ones you'll always want to pick up whenever they turn up are either the roast or the potion, depending on who it is you're playing. Whenever you pick either of them up, you become superpowered and run around the screen attacking lots of enemies on screen. These items only appear at designated spots in levels though, brought to you by Dogmatics. Aw, he's so cute. You will want to pick up as many of these as you can. Tornadoes aren't the only other hazard in this game though. Levels will also start to be divided into sections. Each one has its own hazards as well as elements to them. Section 2 has us pulling an Indiana Jones, then platforming our way to the top of the level, where we reach Section 3, where we are fighting more Roman soldiers on a collapsible floor. I'm not complaining though. Apart from the tornadoes, the other hazards have had a respectable amount of difficulty to them, and the variety in the level element stops it feeling quickly repetitive. The boss of this level, I imagine, is from the book of the same name of the level, and he is a complete prick. He has 2 attacks that he rapidly fires out at you, summoning thunder to hit you or hypnotising you that makes you stay in one place so he can then hit you with the thunder. Not a hard boss, but his cheap attack rate will take a credit off you at least. Level 3, we're now heading to my homeland, Great Britain, the home of Idris Elba. You're welcome, ladies. This level starts off tricky, as you spawn in the ocean while sharks attack, so you need to jump from boat to boat to stay safe. In theory, you have to stay in the middle of the boat, otherwise the enemies clipping through the sides of the boat will get you. You don't have to do it for long though, as this is probably the shortest level in the game. Once you make it to the end, you board a ship, fight a few troops, and then have to fight 2 bosses at once. Though there is nothing special about these guys in particular, they act just like any other regular enemy, just with a bigger health bar. They can hit a bit harder and they can't be picked up off the ground. Possibly the most boring level in the game, if I'm honest. At least there is a bonus stage here. Easy as shit, smash the barrels and get the treasure for 3 points. Not sure what the zombies are about though. Well, we did it. Let's tally up the score and oh my god! Okay, yep, I need to address this. You have to understand that this series came from a time where depictions of non-white people were different. So you are going to see some not so flattering stereotypical depictions in this game. You have been warned. Level 4, a rescue mission. Panacea has been taken by the bandits and is in need of rescue. This level can be best described as the level of instant deaths. A lot of platforming jumping means that you'll occasionally fall off screen, and if you do, instant death. Not only that, but with the narrow spaces to move, you or your partner will occasionally hit each other by trying to hit the enemy. Oh yeah, and this happens every 5 seconds or so. All through the level, Panacea keeps calling for help, and it gets irritating quickly. Jesus Christ, you needy bitch, give me 5 fucking seconds to reach you. At least it's good quality sound though. The sound effects in this game are actually good quality. Speech is clear, the cartoonish sound effects match the cartoon violence, and the music is chaotic like you would find in a kid's cartoon. The sound design is well done, though some of the punching sounds do sound a bit stock. The boss of this level is another cheap boss, but not as cheap as Egypt's boss. Again, this one acts like a regular enemy, but this one is able to interrupt your attacks because fuck you. Other than that, he's another easy-ish boss, but not an end level boss. There is a section after the boss, which has you jumping from cart to cart to descend a mountain, avoiding what hazard you can. Though really, this is just part of the game where they try and cheat some money out of you, as a lot of the hazards are unavoidable, and you can't see them coming, so good luck trying to react to them in time. Level 5, off to España. We get a new type of enemy here, soldiers with a ram. This is the only time they turn up in the entire game though, and it's not much, but it's something at least. Now I think about it, the enemy variety has been very low and lacking. Most of the enemies I've been fighting are Romans, but they only have 2 types, the fat officers and the thin grunts. I mean, yeah, the bandits were different, but that level was the only time we were going to see them. So this game does get a bit dull when it comes to fighting. Even seeing a new boss can be a bit underwhelming sometimes. Though I reckon that if you have read all the books, you may get more enjoyment out of this because you recognise elements from the book in the game. Panacea, why are you wandering through a battlefield? It's no wonder you got kidnapped, you dozy tart. She does actually have a purpose though. Walking up to her allows her to kiss you and fully heal you, as well as stun nearby enemies so player 2 can get a cheap shot in. Don't rely on her though, as she is a rare appearance. The end of this level has you walking into arena to fight a bull, and this is probably the cheapest boss of them all. Your attacks, while they hurt him, do not make him flinch. Sometimes don't connect, and sometimes bounce off him hitting you instead. But punching him in the arse seems to be the best way to hurt it, but even then the bull can interrupt you. Once you hit it enough it falls down for a short time, and if you get there quick enough you can throw it for more damage. What little of it you actually do. The health on the bosses has always been high, but it's gone down at a reasonable rate. Here, it's hardly budging. You're going to die to this boss a lot because of this literal bullshit. But when you do beat it though, oh, that's actually pretty dark. I'm not gonna lie, I genuinely feel bad about that. Level 6, on the way to India. Wonder what racial stereotypes we're going to be seeing here. Actually, they're not that bad. They just look like anyone else, really. This level tries to fuck you over from the start. You start on a magic carpet that takes you over a stormy sea. Lightning rapidly tries to hit you, and hit or miss, it will set the carpet on fire for a short time. If either the fire or the lightning hits you, there's a fair chance that you'll be knocked into the water, which is also instant death. During the ride though, birds who've been struck by the lightning will land on the carpet. Each one you save gives you 100 points. If you're lucky, they'll get you enough points to get you an extra life, but I wouldn't count on it. The next section will trick first time players. Do not jump off the carpet onto solid ground that's less than 2 feet away from you. While that seems like a logical thing to do, it also results in fuck you, game. This time you try and fight off horsemen that board the carpet until you reach the next section. Now you can get off the carpet. This level has unique enemies too. Here we have the long range pikemen and the big boys with axes that get stuck in the ground. Nice bit of refreshing new game elements here, enemies that actually require a different tactic to fight. Fighting our way to the boss, we have to fight these two dicks riding in their own magic carpet, though I do like the emoji robe one of them is wearing. This boss is about avoiding the attacks, then attacking them once they decide to come within range. One will throw lightning at you while the other throws snakes that will attack you on the ground, which you can kill in one hit thankfully. Not as frustrating as the bull, thank fuck, but still a bit irritating. Level 7, the final level. We're going after Caesar himself. As soon as the level starts, you're attacked by Roman troopers with a new taller trooper that functions the same way as the Indian troops did, but with a ranged attack as well. The majority of which you have to fight in a tight space while this dick murders living statue busts above you. It's because of situations like this I'm glad I can do this. Graphics do perfectly resemble the style of the cartoon. Everyone is recognisable, the fighting is well animated, the backgrounds vary from level to level and are very well detailed. Every enemy type, as well as Asterix and Obelix themselves, have their own animations which are all smooth and pleasant to look at. I can easily say that the game's graphics are one of the best features about this alongside the combat, lore references and some of its level design. After a short segment of fighting troops, you enter Caesar's arena, and it's time for a boss rush. In other brawler games, usually a boss rush will have you fighting against bosses you've already beaten. Here, it thankfully only recycles one of them, the rest of them are new, but again, not all of them are exciting. Round 1, us versus a tiger. Fight! Tiger suffers from the same issues as the bull did, but not to the same extent, and actually goes down a lot easier. So much that we didn't even get to see any of its attacks other than a pounce. Thankfully though, we don't kill the tiger. We just scare it so much that it jumps out of its stripes and runs away. Although I still genuinely feel bad about that. Round 2, one single ugly motherfucker. I only call him that because 1, the ugly part is factual, and 2, the bosses are never given a name. This guy is another cheap twat. Hit detection is only there some of the time and he abuses one frame attacks like the motherfucker he is. And his attacks do a lot of damage and he can hit them quickly on you. We found that charging punches and hoping he walked into them was the best thing to do. I also think we killed him by punching him in the throat. Yep, sounds like a crushed windpipe to me. Round 3, another Roman turtle. You know how these work. Final round, Caesar's best gladiators attack us both at once. These two powerhouses are probably the hardest boss in the entire game. Both have ridiculously high defense, have a block move, are difficult to knock down, do a lot of damage, attack quickly and have a little bit of hit detection issues. The blue one is slower and stronger with a long reach, while the brown one is quicker and attacks faster. They're difficult because they try to stick next to each other so that when one is being hurt, the other can interrupt the player to stop the attack. I do like that this is a feature and a tactic that the AI is using for this boss, and it's a good feature, but because you have no defensive moves, like a block or a roll, it's pretty dickish feature too. In my personal opinion, if a boss can pull off one style of attack, then the player should have a way to either counter or avoid that attack. Otherwise, it's just bad game design. Defeating one just makes the fight easier, but both still take a huge beating before even a little bit of noticeable damage is done. Once you defeat them both, the ending plays.
I promise not to invade your village anymore.
Let's party!
Party, party!
Keyword your. He won't attack your village again. Everyone else is fucked though. Asterix and Obelix is a decent game. Sure, it may get a little douchey with the difficulty as it goes on, but the levels and mechanics are very well made. Visually, it's nice to look at, and fans of the series will appreciate it too, if not just for the nostalgia. The slapstick fighting is funny, and it does get a little repetitive, but the changing environments and levels are enough to keep interested at least. And that was Asterix and Obelix. Thanks for watching everyone. Join me next time where I'll be doing the Monster Mash with a shotgun.